Now from the night team, the man who murdered a 21-year-old ASU student is scheduled to be executed next week at the state prison in Florence.
This will be the first Arizona execution in 8 years. And while the death sentence may bring some sense of justice for the families of the victims, critics say it highlights the state's relentless search for new ways to put condemned inmates to death.
Team 12's Bram Resnick shows us why a horrifically botched execution was a turning point for state officials who are still committed to enforcing the death penalty.
One lethal injection was supposed to kill Joseph Wood in 10 minutes. Witnesses say the double murder convict writhed for 2 hours before he died. Now, 8 years later, Arizona is moving ahead with executions again, even as other states back off.
It was a clear gasp, and it just sort of looked like a fish opening and closing his mouth.
Witnesses to Joseph Wood's execution described his struggle to breathe.
He was gasping and gulping, and that went on for an hour and 40 minutes.
Wood's attorney, Dale Bache, called his colleagues from the Florence prison that houses Arizona's death chamber.
We're actually arguing in front of a federal judge to stop the execution as it was going forward.
The appeal was too late. After 2 hours and 15 doses of the execution drugs, Joseph Wood was pronounced dead.
Prior to the execution, the state said 1 dose will do it, and they were wrong.
Wood had murdered his ex-girlfriend and her father. Their relatives saw the execution very differently.
He smiled and laughed at us and then went to sleep. So all you people that think that these drugs are bad, well, the hell with you guys.
Arizona's botched execution of Joseph Wood in 2014 marked both the end and a new beginning of what one critic has called the state's relentless search for new ways to carry out the death penalty.
Primarily over the last decade, states have faced a challenge in acquiring lethal injection drugs.
For several years leading up to the Wood fiasco, Arizona scrambled to buy execution drugs, often in Europe, with embarrassing results. A year after Arizona executed Jeffrey Landrigan in 2010, documents revealed that state prison officials obtained the lethal injection drugs from a tiny pharmaceutical company housed in the back of a London driving school.
In 2015, Arizona tried the same thing, but this time the drugs were stopped at the border.
Dale Bache was a federal public defender for Arizona's death row inmates for 25 years.
What we have learned over the years is that the states should be transparent.
With drugs hard to get, an old execution method is new again. Arizona refurbished a gas chamber last used decades ago.
Did anybody who is associated with this process ever study the Holocaust?
Condemned inmates can now be put to death with a lethal injection or with chemicals similar to the mix that killed millions in Nazi death camps. The inmate gets to choose.
Gas chamber is the least effective method of execution. It's the most torturous. I would go so far as to say every gas execution is per se torturous.
Professor Deborah Deno is a national expert on execution methods.
There are other states that have the gas chamber on the books, such as California, but they haven't used it for many years. It's really been Arizona.
Arizona's first execution in 8 years comes as prosecutors nationwide are backing away from the death penalty. Just 18 death sentences were imposed in 2021. That's down 94% from the late 1990s peak. And there were only 11 executions. That's down 89%. 66-year-old Clarence Dixon is set to be executed with a single dose of the drug pentobarbital. His attorneys have argued the Navajo man is schizophrenic and doesn't understand why he faces execution.
She had friends all over the world. There's not been a day go by that she hasn't been on her mind.
In 2008, Dixon was sentenced to death for raping and killing 21-year-old ASU student Dina Bowden in her Tempe apartment 30 years earlier. A cold case detective connected Dixon to the murder.
It can be very challenging, very traumatic for families.
Colleen Clace is a victims' rights attorney. Her organization has helped people like Dina Bowden's surviving sister, Leslie James, seek justice at dozens of hearings over the last 20 years. Leslie James has issued this statement: "I will never stop thinking of Dina. But I look forward to the resolution of Dixon's criminal matter through the imposition of punishment.
Closure is not the right word, but there will be a close to the criminal proceedings. The emotional damage is always going to be there for any victim of any crime.
Attorney General Mark Brnovich put executions on a fast track last year. He says the punishment is the appropriate response to the most shocking murders. A second execution is scheduled for next month. Bram Resnick, 12 News.